All right, so I'm going to just kind of close out my browser. So tell me a little bit about the equipment that you use. Do you have a Mac or a PC?
I have a regular, just a Dell PC.
All right, cool, me too. And so I use either Chrome or Firefox as my browsers. Those are the most compatible with our system. You can use Edge or Internet Explorer, but I will tell you they are the least compatible. Sometimes funky things will happen, and I don't really have a good explanation, but I will tell you I use Chrome and Firefox, and they seem to work the best for me. So now.mlsmatrix.com is what I recommend that you type. It takes you directly to the login screen where you enter your ID and password. So if you were going to MLSNow.com, it's not wrong, it's just extra clicks.
Sure.
So you'll enter your info and it takes you right to your dashboard. So you want to make sure that you've got the right info on the left-hand side. Your email address and your phone are the important ones. I'll click on Edit, and that gives you the opportunity to update your info. For the address, we don't need your personal stuff, so I would use the office info. Make sure you've got the right phone number under primary. When you print listings, if you were to print a buyer full to give to a client, it'll have that phone number that you see here at the bottom, and then your email address. If the MLS ever needs to get a hold of you, that's how we contact you, either email or we would phone you. So click update if you have to. All right. So that's where you would update your profile information in the MLS. So we've got all these buttons at the dashboard. And I will tell you, most agents click that very first one and never look back. But there's a lot of really great tools here that you can use with probably little or no instruction. Some of them are fairly simple to figure out. Professional search is a good tool to use if you wanted to look for listings outside of our MLS. So if you have somebody who's looking for a property in Columbus, it's very similar to Realtor.com, except you as an agent get to see more info. You see who the homeowner is. If you click on their name, you can see if they own other properties. Kind of cool. It's a good place to go if you wanted to learn about your customer. Maybe they live out of our MLS and they're going to be coming in, you know, from Illinois. You can do some good searching by using that product. But like I said, don't be afraid to click on any of these. We have quick links to all the associations and boards, all the auditor sites. So I don't bookmark, you know, I'm never going to remember all the different sites, but here we have all the county auditors for our territory, which is the 32 counties. So if I don't remember, right, I've got quick links to get to Lorain County. I don't remember what their site is, but that's going to take me to the auditor, and I can search from here. So, like I said, just handy stuff on your dashboard. But let's talk a little bit about Matrix. So are you setting up auto emails? Tell me kind of what you're using it for.
So I have worked for over a year, but due to outside circumstances, I'm actually starting all over. So I got my license. And then, you know, with COVID and family being sick, I haven't really, all the information I have, I feel like seeped out of my brain. So now I'm just starting over. So in MLS, I've put in listings. I've done hot sheets. But other than that, I haven't done comps in a really long time. So I kind of don't remember how to do that. And emails, I've never done the email part either.
Oh, let's talk about that then. Cool. So this is your home screen.
Yes.
When a client calls you and says, hey, listen, I was in Gates Mills, I saw this house and I don't remember what street it was on, I have the house number. You don't need to go to search. You don't need to click here or point here and start choosing, because you don't even know if it was a single family, a multifamily, what was it? If all you have is a little bit of information, this is your guide. If they told you the house number was 6888, that's all you need. This panel lets you search any listing that's ever been in our MLS going back to 1991. So if you had just a house number, because honestly, you know, when I'm talking to a customer, do I believe that they know what city they're in? Do they know what border they're, you know, they don't know. If all I have is the house number, put a house number here and click search. Any listing that's ever been in with that house number is here. Now, we've had a listing with that house number 65 times, right? This is 65 listings total. And these are the default status, or excuse me, sort is by status. So active, under contract, those are going to float to the top. So here, sure enough, 6888 in Gates Mills, that's the property. Don't overdo it. Don't overthink it. If they give you just a house number, they're not sure, that's it. And now I can see that listing. So that is my go-to. And now from here, if I want to get back to that home screen, click the red cloud in the upper left. That gets you back to your home screen. So this panel, super powerful. Put in what you know. If all you know is the house number, put that in. If you know the street name, put that in. Not the suffix, you know, road or street or anything, that would go down here. But I would stick with like street number and street name. So good use for that. Market Watch is helpful. It's telling you what's going on in the MLS at any time. Residential listings entered today for our whole MLS. And I'm gonna scroll down. I wanna show you a little treat here. Under external links, a bunch of stuff here. I don't know if you've looked at the 48-hour rule sheet. If you were to come into a class, you would be given that sheet. Very handy. It lets you know how to calculate the 48-hour rule, what the postal holidays are, some interesting rules about new listings, and then this is our territory. So this is where we are the primary MLS. Got a second page too, talks about different status definitions. If you weren't sure, what's the difference between under contract allow and under contract no showings? Temp off market, stuff like that. So that's a really handy tool. So again, that was off the main page, and that's the 48-hour rule. Back up here. So this is just, like I said, it's a snapshot in time. If a listing just was entered, it's not going to update automatically. I would need to click refresh. We have 51 when I first logged in. Now we've got 53. And I can see what they are. I can click here to see all 53 of those new listings. So that's a link. And again, that's through our whole territory. I'll click the cloud to go back. Well, I don't care about our whole MLS, right? Maybe I just care about a certain county. Well, I can customize this panel. So if you click customize, it takes you to a criteria search screen, and you can select your a county or counties. If you care about more than one, I could just type one and it highlights it. Or do you use this double box over here?
No, I have not.
Okay, so like I want to select more than one, but I don't want to have to scroll, right? I don't want to have to scroll through all that. I can click this double box, and you see it throughout the different screens. And when you click that, it's going to give you a pop-up, and my screen doesn't want to share my pop-ups with me, so hold on. You don't want to show me? Oh, come on. Well, if you, I'll ask you to select it. Like I said, the way I'm screen sharing here, it's a little weird. So when you click it, it says find the value. And you can search and you can pull those values in. So you can click in the search where it says at the top, search for, and you can search for Medina and then choose add or remove to the right so that you see that under the current selection field. And then search for another one. So you could search for Lorraine and then add that. So instead of either having to scroll down, if you want to scroll, you can to select more than one. So if I select Medina, if I also wanted Mahoning, I have to hold my control key down to select more than one. So control click lets you select or deselect more than one. You've had to do that before. So that's pretty nice. I don't have to do all the typing. I can just click them. So control click. So I pick the counties I want, and then I'll choose save at the bottom. And now I see that reflected here. Instead of 53, I just have 3. So that's meaningful to me now because those are that's the county I care about. And to remove that filter, you just click reset at the bottom. So that's on your home screen. You can do it with all the different property types. They could all be different. So it's just a nice, easy, quick way for you to keep an eye on what's going on in the MLS. Under my listings, you got that nice panel there. So that's a quick link for you. If someone says, hey, I saw one of your Keller Williams office signs in on a property. What can you tell me about that listing? Well, I would immediately click where it says, on yours it will say my office on market listings. When you click it, that's your quick way to see the listings in your office. So I would definitely use that. That's a great shortcut. Well, let's see if we can help you create some searches. So if I point to search, let's do residential, right? So, and you don't have to click on search. If you do, it takes you to the next screen where you have to scroll on down. But if you just hover, you can search from there. And it gives you your criteria screen. So right now, the only thing that's checked on mine is active and under contract. That's the only filters that are automatically applied. And it's telling us we have under 10,000 matches. I can see that at the bottom left. And so as we, make selections, it's going to narrow that search. So as you scroll down, if you only wanted single family, or do you have an application that you, otherwise I'm just going to make something up. Is there something that you'd like to
Oh, no, go
set up?
ahead. No, go ahead.
Okay.
I have,
Okay.
when I did the hot sheets, I made my own for a particular school district. That was all.
Very good. All right, so for this is a nice place to create a search that you can run at any time, or you can have it send listings to your client automatically. So let's say that I'm your client and I'm interested in a single family property. If there was a certain style I wanted, you could scroll through and pick. So if I was interested in colonials or bungalows, again, I would have to hold my control to select more than one. So and or and not. Right now, or is the default. And that's what you're going to probably use the most. And probably the way, inventory is so low, I don't even know that I would set somebody up with a certain style filter because they may not get much. So you may want to just not have any selections so they get everything, right? But if you leave it at or, it means if the listing is a colonial or a bungalow, it's in those results at the bottom that you see. If we choose not, that's a real easy way to make a selection of bungalow and colonial and exclude them. So instead of having to pick all the ones I like, I can just pick those two and say, what's not a colonial or a bungalow? And then there's and, which you probably will never use, but when you enter a listing, you can select more than one style. You might choose cluster home and then also ranch. I have a bunch of those in my development that I live in. So when an agent lists a home, they should be choosing both of those because that property is both a ranch and a cluster home. And if I wanted to make sure all of my results had both of those properties entered, I would choose and. But like I said, you'll probably just mostly use or. All right, so I'm gonna scroll back up. I'm going to only choose colonial. I don't want any others, so I'd be selected bungalow. And you can get very creative with your searches if you want something that has an HOA fee of a certain amount. Like if your customer says, you know, anything under $200 a month. Well, what do you put? Do you put the dollar sign? These question marks will help you. When you point to them or click on them, they will open up a box for you and show you some help. So, oh, sorry, lost my mouse. Gives you an example. So if I wanted something that had an HOA fee of 200 and lower, I could do it like that. Or I could say 200 minus. Either one, right? I'll get the same result. Let's say that we are looking in a certain area. We can, if we wanted, we could draw them on the map. We'll do that. We'll look at some comps in a moment, but right now we're looking at new listings or that meet a certain criteria. You could draw on the map. You could put in maybe a street name. If there was a certain street that your client was interested in, and that's all. Let me know if any houses pop up on that street. Or you can use county, area, city, and school district. Well, if you've been logging into the system, you should have read a pop-up that said areas are going away. So please don't use area in any search. Use other criteria. And you'll see, you know, maybe it's based on they've got kids going to school and they want to be in a certain school district or a certain city, or you could draw on the map. But we give you an alphabetical listing in each of these. If I go to county and I select a county, it is automatically filtering cities, right? Everything's now only Cuyahoga County because I said it had to be in Cuyahoga County. And it presents me with all the cities in that county. So if I wanted to look across counties, I would just leave this blank. So let's say for today, let's look in Solon. I'm out here today, so let's stick with Solon. And I'm down to 24 matches on the bottom left. I'm always looking down there to see how many matches I have. So it says I could use a subdivision or a zip code. So sometimes your client knows, hey, I want to live in that subdivision right off of Route 91, and they tell you the name. I wouldn't use that, and I'll show you why. So I'm going to scroll up to the top. Now, I'm in a search screen, and I've made some selections. I don't want to leave it, but I want to be able to go back to my home screen and show you something. You can open multiple sessions. If you point your mouse to the red cloud and right-click, and then say, open a link in a new tab. Up top here, I've opened another matrix. So I've got this one right now in my search screen. If I click here, I'm at the home screen. So that's pretty neat. The only thing you don't want to do in multiple screens is entry of a listing. So it gets the system gets confused, doesn't like it. So one at a time for entering in listings, but if you are just searching, you can open multiple. I can open more and more. All right, I came back to this screen because I wanted to show you, as we look down this external link screen, which is really helpful, the input sheets are here. You said you entered a listing before?
I have.
All right, so maybe you dealt with this, right? This is a helpful tool for agents when they're entering listings. It gives you all the fields that you're going to need to use to enter a listing. So it's showing you the info. Anything in red is a required field. Anything that's not red is optional. And look it down here, subdivision or complex is not red, not required. So you could be missing listings if you search by subdivision, because as an agent, when I entered my listing, I didn't put it in, and shame on me, because I might be missing consumers then. I say when you enter that listing, put as much information as possible. You want to have as much exposure as possible, get as many hits as you can. I'm going to go back to our search screen. So I'm not a big fan of using subdivision for searching. But you can be very specific. I want a house that has a crawl space and brick exterior and has a deck and so on. And you can be down to no matches in no time. So I would be cautious about using any of that right now. I guess I would stick with what, like I'm looking at a city, I'll put in a price range of $225 to $375. Look at that, 2 matches. Jeez. Let's blow it up a little here so we can have something to look at. So always think in ranges, right? If you put 300, you're only going to see houses that have that are listed at exactly 300,000. So we always think in ranges. If your client says, I need at least 4 bedrooms, I'm going to say 4 plus. When you're searching total, full, and half baths, I would stick with total baths. The reason being, let's see here. So if they said they wanted 2.5, that means they want at least 2 full, I'm going to say 2 plus, and 1 half bath. Oh, in this case, I guess it doesn't matter. Our matches didn't go down. Where this can get you into trouble is they wanted 3 total baths, right? They want 2 full, at least 2 full, at least 1 half, that's 3 total. Well, you would miss a property that has 3 full and no half baths because you said it had to have at least 1. So if their total was 3, I would stick with 3 plus. All right, let's look at the results. So when you click results, it takes you to a single line display. And I'm going to actually make a little change here. There we go. Okay. So it takes us to our single line display. Shows you here. If you were ever calling the MLS, I'd say, hey, what screen are you on? You could tell me I'm at my results in the single line display. If you want to get back to the search criteria, you click criteria down here at the bottom left, or you also see it up here, criteria, map, and results. You're in results right now. The criteria, you can make changes. Click here or bottom left and go back to those results. At any time on your screen, I can move my mouse and you see these, the breaks between the columns, you can click and hold and you can resize it. So I see more on the screen, I don't have to shrink my font. So let's say that you wanted to, well, if you want to review these listings, you would click on them, right? So you click on the first one and it takes you, here's your display. You're in an Agent Full 360. Again, just navigating can be confusing sometimes. So from the listing, if I want to get back to the list of 7, that's right here in the middle. Single line. Click it here, takes you back to your list of 7. So that's how you navigate. I'm in the first listing. If I wanted to go to the next one, I can do that here. I can page through these 7 listings like that. So as you're looking at the listings, you've got all these different ways to look at information. You see a link here for photos. You can even just click on the one in the center. Just click on that and you can rifle through them. See these tabs that are running here? I use these when I'm on my phone. Do you use your smartphone to look at information in the MLS?
I do.
Okay, good. This is my go-to here. If you click on this and try to go through the photos on your phone, it moves around and I have to keep resizing it and it's painful. My advice is clicking here on photos and you get a nice gallery view that's easier to scroll through and look at. So these tabs that you see here are great on a phone. And I mean, you can certainly use them on your computer too, but you may want to think about grabbing those. If the agent added supplements, you can see those here. The virtual tours, have you looked at like tax data at all?
Yes.
Okay, very good. So, you know, as you look through, the client, or excuse me, the agent did include realist tax information, but if they didn't and you wanted to double check something, you could do that. If you weren't sure if they left that blank and you wanted to see the square footage, you can click that parcel and it's going to take you into that property details information from realist tax. As you scroll down, you'll see the parcel is a link. Now, it's not a deep link in Cuyahoga County. Others, it is. I'm going to capture that parcel number. But you can click here, and it's going to open up and take you to the county, where I can say I brought the parcel number with me. I can paste it here, and I can confirm square footage and other data. So nice, easy links. Once you're in the system, right, it's just a couple clicks away from giving you ways to get to other places. So that tax link here is really helpful. You can also look at the parcel map. If you click here, it looks like a map up here too. So this one is going to give you 3 maps. It gives you the satellite view, it gives you the estimated dimensions of the parcel, and then it gives you a neighborhood map. Scroll back a little bit. And this one's nice. It gives you a nice big view. Sorry about that. I do it every time. Scroll down. As you're looking at the map, I can zoom in and zoom out. All the parcels are live. So if you were curious because you came to the property and you wanted to see the house across the street, you can click, and there's always going to be tax information. If it's ever been listed in the MLS, you have a link to the last listing. So you can literally just march down the street and learn about all the other properties. If you wanted to see, okay, well, this one's got, you know, if your subject property has whatever square feet, and you just want to see how it compares to the others, you can do that. You can also grab Pegman at the bottom of your screen, and the blue line tells us it's been mapped. It's going to drop us on the street, and we can scroll around and look. So very handy. I'll click the arrow up here to go back. So that was by clicking on the parcel map. I'm going to click here to go back to the listing itself. All right, from here, I'm going to go back to our single line result, look at our 7. Let's say that we looked at the first 3 listings and we wanted to send them to a client, right? I'll select the listings and then I want to email that information to a client. I'll click email. Now it's going to let me type an email address. I would always recommend that you don't just type an email address. Have you created any contacts yet?
Yes.
Oh, okay, great. So, you know, if you come here and hit your space bar, you'll see all of your people. But you can do it on the fly. So you can click here to create a new contact. All you need is a first name, last name, and an email address. If you are working with somebody, let's say I'm working with my daughter and I'm going to help her find a home. So, oh my goodness, sorry, clickety-click. If you're working with a couple and they're going to, you're going to be sending both of them listings, set it up right away with both of their names. 1 contact, 2 names. Just a comma between each email address. So you can set it up for them. If you would like a copy of the messages, you can do that. You don't have to. I can show you where you can see everything that you send. Give it a subject, you know, something in the message itself. You can edit your signature. You can put your photo in, do all kinds of snappy stuff, and then click send. When you do that, your client gets a link from you, right? So you chose those 3 listings. What do they get? Well, they get a link that says, and I'm not going to pull one up because I don't have one with me, but what they're going to do is it's going to take them to One Home, and I'm going to sign in so you can see what it looks like. So this is what they're going to see. And I'm going to back this out a little bit. There we go. I was going to say I had it blown up pretty big, and that's why it wasn't showing both. On a computer, if they open up the email that you send them on a computer and click and go into One Home, it's going to show the listings on the left and a map on the right. If they open it up on a phone, and I'm going to blow it up, it's only going to show them one at a time. So it's going to show them all the pins on a map, or if they click here, it lets them go back and forth. They can see thumbnails. And they can click and change and make that whatever they like. And they've got you down at the bottom here. And you can put information about you here on your and update a profile that they can see. So that's what it looks like for your client. If you ever wonder, when I email, you know, listings, what do they see? One of the things that we've, let this refresh. One of the things that we've just updated, and are you coming back there? There we go. All right, so one of the things, let me scroll on through here. I just wanna see what these are, okay. You'll see the word compare now. Your agent, or your, your consumers will see that. And then they'll see this option up top here. What they can do, I'm gonna click compare. And we're gonna get rid of these 2. All right. Your client has the option, as they're looking at properties, you know, they may say, okay, I like this one on Summer Place. I'm just going to pick the first 3 just for time. But what if they wanted to, well, they have to look at each one of them and see information about them. Well, I can select up to 3. So I'll grab these first 3 for a comparison. And up top here on the left, it says, I want to look at the compare. And now it's going to show those 3 properties to them, and they can scroll down, property fit score. That's something if your client fills out, if they, when they first click the link that you send them, it's going to say, hey, do you want to set up your account? All they have to do is assign a password. And it's going to ask them, hey, you know, what's important to you? Outdoor space? Do you like a traditional home? It's going to ask them just a couple questions, I think like 4. And then every time they open up a listing, if that listing, you know, fits the profile, it kind of gives it a fit score. But I can very quickly now do a comparison of square footage. I can come down and I can also fill in information about what it would cost. And now I can see year built and square footage and acres and all kinds of good stuff. So that's just a new option that has been added in One Home. So if you ever wondered what your client sees, that's what they see. If your client looks at those 3 properties and says, hey, those look great, can we go see them? Well, you'll want to set up appointments. So, you know, you've got this single line display that's your default, but, you know, if you've ever clicked here, scroll through and see all the different displays that are available. See what they're like. You might like those displays even better. There's one called single line appointments, which then keeps my 7 listings, but it lets me look through and, okay, this one, call showing time, this one, showing time, showing service. Okay, so all of these are call showing time, so I know how to set this up. Great. I can go back to my other display. And then if I wanted to map these out so I know which one we're going to go see first, that's what this directions is for. It lets you see the default is north to south. And it also provides turn by turn, which I can email to my client so they'll know where we're going. You can rearrange them. If you point, don't click on the photo, click on the words that you see on the right, but I can click and drag. Now I've rearranged them. If we were maybe coming from Twinsburg, right, and I'm going to be coming from the south. When I scroll down under the map, I'll just click on directions again, and it reroutes and gives us directions. And I can add a start or a stop in there. So that's a nice tool. You're probably going to use your GPS when you're out driving around, but at least this helps you decide what order, you know, to set up your showings. And then if you wanted to set this up as an auto email, so I'm going to uncheck those listings. If your client said, yep, that's what I'm in for, I've stolen 225 to 425, 4+ bedrooms, 3+ total baths, that sounds great. I don't want to have to keep searching every day. So you can, you would create your search, look at your results, and choose save. We'll use the button in the center there, new auto email. Now you've set up your client. And if I wanted to be very specific, and maybe I wanted to put, like, tell them, you know, maybe show in the subject line, maybe the price range. If I forgot what I used, if you scroll down, you'll see the criteria that you used. 225 to 425, okay. And then there's text that we provide. The very first email explains, here's what I've sent, what I'm sending you. And then you can create your own recurring email so that as new listings are found and are emailed to your client, what do you want it to say? And then we scroll to the bottom. We do a whole class on prospecting. We've got some webinars that we've also recorded and saved, so I'm not going to go into all the fields, but the default is to have the system check every morning at 6 a.m. Because inventory is so tight, you might want to think about saying ASAP. So the system is always looking and will send listings all throughout the day. And set that up and click save. It's going to send all 7 listings right now. Your client has to click on the very first link that you send them. And when they do and click on the link where it says view properties, that's their way of saying, I accept this from you, and you can continue to send me new listings, and the system will automatically do that. If you go to My Matrix, Sent Email, so you said that you have sent listings. So that one will show up in the list in a few moments, but this is showing everything sent by me, whether it was an auto email or if I pulled up a listing and wanted to send it to you, I did a direct email. It's going to show you the last 90 days of your sent emails. So I don't know if you notice how some of these are blue and some aren't. So initially, looks like we tried to set up an auto email for this account, but they never responded. And then this one was a direct email. If you don't set somebody up as a client, it will be blank. We will never be able to see if they opened it or not. That's why I always want to know. All right. When I sent this to Stacy Bing, I sent her a report and she opened it on 10/27. I know that she actually accessed it. So that's why you do want to set up your clients as a contact. And then once you come to my matrix sent email, you can see if they opened it today, it will show the time they opened it. And that's good for you, right? Because then you can see, hey, they're not opening my emails. Maybe I need to reach out to them and say, are you not getting, are these listings not meeting, your criteria? Do we need to try something else? So it's good to know. Did you have any questions?
No.
No, nothing else? So I see we have had some other agents join. Let's see. So I've got, here we have a question. I was going to say, go into chat and ask a question. Can you search using the map feature, drawing two separate areas at the same time? Absolutely. So I'm going to point search, choose residential. And I'm just going to leave active and under contract. So let's talk about the map search. So there are different ways that you can search using the map. If you have an address, you can put the address. So my advice is to type the house number and the street name and then stop. If the system can find it, it's going to give you a little drop-down message saying, did you mean this? All right, so far it didn't find it. Please stick to just the street number and the house and the street name. I don't type road or court or boulevard. Lots of times you think it's one and it's really not, and then it's wrong and the system can't find it. So type a comma and then type the city. I'm going to start to type Bay Village, it finds it. In order to get there, I'm going to click and then it pops it into the box. And now in red, it says map area selected. That's a good thing. It says, I found that address and I drew a circle. And from this circle, I'm going out 1/4 of a mile. Most of the time you do this, you're looking for solds, right? Maybe you're doing comps. But you can also do it if you wanted to create a search for a client in a certain area. And to clear it, I could clear here. So let's say that you have a client who's interested in Strongsville, but I don't have an address. Whoops. I'm just going to type Strongsville OH and I'll stop. And it says, is that what you mean? Yes. Click on it and then click map search. And it's going to take me to what it thinks is Strongsville. Yep. That's kind of like the center of town, right? 42 and 82. And it drew a circle, but I don't want that shape. I can either point to the circle and say delete it, or this is an eraser. I can click here and erase. And then I start to see pins pop up. Because I just said, if you look up top here in the speed bar, that's telling us what our current search is. We didn't really say anything. We're in a residential search, that's the R, and then A and C, which is active, and under contract allow showing. All right, so if I wanted to draw on the map, I can use any of these tools that are available. So if I click on it and then move away, you'll see it's now yellow. That means it's active. If I wanted to draw a circle, I can click and hold, pull away, and let go. And now I drew a shape. And now only listings in that shape are visible. But I can move my map and I can click, I'll grab a rectangle this time. And I will choose my area. And I can back out of the map so you can see those, all right? You can zoom in and out with the plus and minus, or you could scroll. I've got these different shapes. I also like this polygon. That one's kind of cool. So I move, again, click, hold, and you can drag the map. All right, so what if they said, okay, I like Strongsville, and here's where. And then they said, and I also, there's a place in Solon. Okay, so up top here where you see jump to address, I'll click in there and type Solon OH and press enter. Now I'm in Solon, and it just put a marker there. It's not drawing a shape or anything. And I just zoomed out so you can see everything down here is still selected in Strongsville. So I'm going to zoom in Solon, and I can draw a shape there too. So here's how you use this polygon. You'll click here, and when you use the polygon, you click, and then you don't hold and move your mouse. You just click and move your mouse. Click and move, click and move. And you can follow, you know, if I wanted to be parallel to a certain road, and click. All right, we've got a couple matches in there that are active. And once you draw your shape, you can click and hold, and you can amend it. I can scoot, and I could draw another shape. This other polygon, the freehand, I'm not very good with this one, but you can click, and then you do hold it down, and you can draw a freeform area like that. So if I back out, and I do it wrong every time, but if I zoom out, I can see I've got those shapes there, and then also over in Strongsville. So you can be very, very selective about where your client says, you know, these streets in this neighborhood, this is what they like. We can do that. So you can be very selective about that. I'm going to delete those shapes. We also have a new feature coming. I'm going to, actually, I have that second session. I'm going to click on that one. So I don't know if you've had seen Map Search new feature, selecting layers as shapes. So that's a really cool one. Supposed to be working today. We did call our vendor because we're having some trouble with it. It worked for a couple days, and I think they were tweaking something, and now it's not working, but we expect it to be back soon. Here's how it would work. I think you've all seen, we've had a couple messages talking about the fact that areas are going to go away. So when you enter a listing, jump back in that. So when you enter a listing, you know, you have to call out the area that it's in. You enter, that's a part of your listing. But at some point, this area number is going to go away. We don't recommend creating any more searches using it. Stick to other criteria like entering a city, a school district, a zip code, or drawing on the map. But coming very shortly is going to be this really cool feature that will replace areas using the neighborhoods assigned by Google Maps. So when I click layers, you know, I can click all kinds of things here. Let's choose, I'm going to show you how it works, just so you can see what that looks like. But when you choose city, I get borders. And I'm actually going to put in a price here so I don't have all these pins. I'm going to say I want anything valued at no value. Oh, that's going to bring up what? Auctions. So that's how that works. All right, but now we can see all these different right? So when you point to layers and choose, we can see cities. So if you wanted to choose, you could say, I want to pull up these multiple cities. So I can show my layer is cities, click the hand, and then click a city. So now I've chosen North Ridgeville. And if I also wanted Parma, again, I would click the hand and choose Parma. Now, you could have chosen city from the criteria screen, so that's not as exciting. However, like I said, what's coming is you could also now pick neighborhoods. So if you knew you wanted those cities, and then also you wanted specific neighborhoods. Maybe your client said, you know what, I'm also interested in Old Brooklyn. you would show the layer for neighborhoods, click, and then choose Old Brooklyn. And as I mentioned, right now it's not working, but it would have outlined Old Brooklyn for you. Or you can continue, zoom in. So many of you do like to choose Ohio City and Tremont. So you'll have those to select also. So you can then select by the layer that you're displaying. It could be a school district and so on. So we also did attach a nice video. So if you do forget how to use this, go to help. That, like I said, off the main screen. And you'll see we do have map areas. And there's a nice video there that shows you how to use that. When you're in the MLS, we have help. And I do want you to see webinar videos, these MLSNow, anything that starts with MLSNow, my team has put together. We've recorded many, many webinars. So if you'd like to learn, maybe you heard about creating mailing labels. You've created some postcards. How can you create mailing labels? We had a nice video to walk you through that process. So don't forget those videos, and we've got tip sheets too. I'm gonna jump here in the search and type tech. So OR, I don't know if many of you know this, but they do provide you assistance with a hotline for technology. Doesn't matter if it's relating to real estate or not. So let's say that you get an Alexa for Christmas and you're trying to set it up in your house and you're really not sure how to do it. They can give you help. If you get a new printer and it's wireless and you're not able to connect to it, they can give you a hand, or you get a new smartphone. Take advantage of that benefit. And we appreciate if you let us know about your experience. You know, I talk about this a lot because I've heard from a few agents and they had a very good result. So we'd like to know what you think. So certainly let us know. But that's available, that information, just search tech. Up top, intra matrix. Have you seen this? If you point to intra matrix, you have a shortcut to view listings in Dayton's MLS or Toledo's. So when I click that link, I am now in their MLS, right? So they also use CoreLogic's matrix program, but it's going to be a little bit different. We're all a little different. When I come here, I'm going to point to search. I can choose residential and go look at residential listings. I don't know what their rules are. I don't know if they have to enter a subdivision or square footage or not. So I'm probably going to keep my search pretty generic. I might say single family. I may put a price range in. They have the cities, so you can click there and get that pop-up box, right? If I wanted to see in Toledo proper, we've got 727 listings. I can put in my price range. And I can put in a total number of bedrooms. So if I wanted 3 or fewer, year built if I wanted, and so on. So we can put in our criteria, we can choose the results, and you can save a new auto email. Your clients don't exist in their database, so you will have to re-enter your client's information, right? So I have to start all over. However, it's really handy. If you've got someone and you want to keep them as a client and they say, hey, listen, I've got, 2 kids that are going to be going to the University of Toledo. I might as well buy a house. They're going to be out there for 4 years. They're staggered in ages, right? So they may have to keep it for 6 years. I might as well buy a multifamily. Can you help me? Yep, you can set them up with a search for multifamily properties, set them up with auto emails, and give them a hand. So again, that was Intramatrix up at the top. Unless you are a member, you can't enter any listings. You can only do searches. But I think that's a really great tool. Any questions? Have you seen this? Home visit. If you're not connected with a photographer, this might be of benefit. If you click the link, it's going to open up a dashboard for you and show you information about how to connect with a photographer. So CoreLogic has vetted the photographers. So if you've got a listing, you can click that link and it's going to open up a window, let you look at their dashboard. You can reach out to them if you back that out. So you can see, I'm going to point over here on the left. If you wanted to see a price list, right? So it's going to give you a list of their services. If you wanted to purchase 25 photos or 35 photos, if you wanted a virtual tour, if you wanted drone video, and the Wi-Fi is a little slow on this one. I don't know why. But it'll let you make those purchases directly online. And again, if you saw that link that I clicked on, it says for your first experience, you do get 50% off. And so you know, they're automatically going to always take 10% off. So this would be just under $200 without a coupon that they have. Like I said, they're offering your first experience at 50%. So you might want to check this out. I have spoken with one agent who was in Ashtabula who used them, and she had a very good experience. So I do want to mention that. So it's worth taking a look at. All right. All right, so Sandy is asking about an app. So let's go back into Matrix. Let's talk a little bit about that. Matrix is looking at not making an app, but making the screen responsive. So, you know, like when we are in one home, right? When the system knows I've got a big screen, I can show you information, I can show you the thumbnails and the map. And if I were to make it look like a phone, right, just like this, it looks like a phone, it automatically adjusted it and shows me what it would look like. So this is like, if, for instance, when you send your clients listings, if they open up and tap on their phones, this is what it looks like. The default is to show them pins on a map. If they wanted to change their view to thumbnail, they would click here. And now they see those 3 results in thumbnail view. That's what CoreLogic is going to be doing with the MLS. But let's talk about that a little bit. All right. So, all right, so Sandy, that was your question. Sandy, do you use this speed bar located at the top of your screen? Do you ever use that for searching?
I'm unmuting. No, I don't, because I don't find it very user-friendly. I feel like I have to memorize all these coded things, but I think it's just my ignorance.
No, I completely agree with you. All right, in the beginning, all right, because here's what I'm going to do. So recent searches over here on the right, I'm going to click there because I don't want to have to reload. I want to do one of those searches that I've done today. And so, all right, so I did a search earlier and I just reloaded it. And when I go to criteria, right, we said active, single family, 300 to 400 in Strongsville. That's what I typed. When you look at the results, it shows you the results, but here's the language.
Yeah.
Right? So I started with baby steps. I would come here if I wanted to update, and maybe my client says, you know what, I looked at those 8, let's bump it up. And they say, change it to 425. I don't want to have to click criteria and then go back, because on a phone, that is painful. But
That's
I'm going
what
to click
I do
up
all
here.
the time. Yeah.
Oh my gosh, right? Come up here and change it
Okay.
to 450 and then click here. Now I'm going to show you something in a minute. Right now, so I went from 7 to 11. And if they said, you know what though, I still haven't decided if I want to live in Strongsville. I'm also looking at Solon. I can click up there, again, just a space between. I can type a whole nother city, space between, click. I went from 11 to 20. Now my results are Strongsville and Solon.
Okay. Cool. I did not know that.
This is the cool part, because maybe you start your search with on the full screen, but then this is how you get good at it. Start clicking in here and making your changes, right? So
Yeah.
Here's the other thing I'm going to do. So now you see how this works, right? And I forget the codes. Don't forget, you can click here and open up, and I apologize, my screen, I'm not sharing and able to show my second, my other screen that's popping up here that has a pop-up. But when you click that question mark, you're going to get a pop-up window that gives you all the codes.
Okay.
You can type
Okay.
R, resi, residential, any of that for, if you wanted to add, let's say that you wanted single family and condos, just delete single family. I delete it and rerun it, and I go from 20 to no more because
Gotcha.
it's not showing any condos in that range. But once you kind of learn how this works, it's really not bad. The other thing, let's say that go ahead.
So a quick question, just while it's in my mind while you're doing that. This is completely different from when we want to search, because I'm so used to searching under remarks where you put in the asterisk and then investor, handyman. Is that completely different from this? Can I also use this search bar and do that as well up here?
You
Or
cannot.
Handyman,
Good
we
question.
have to still put the asterisk, right, between the search.
You still have to come here and do that.
Okay, you do. Okay.
No, that's a very good question. You still have to come here to do that.
Okay.
If you're going to be very specific, but like you say, that wildcard search can be very helpful.
Gotcha.
But yes, you would still have to do that here.
Okay, that's fine. I just wanted to make sure it was completely separate, or was it now blended together?
Gotcha.
It's not. Okay.
So if I'm on my home screen and you call, like I said, I can put information over here on the right, and I can enter a house number or a street name, or I can click up here in the speed bar. So if somebody told me, hey, listen, I just saw 13425 butternut, and search. If that's ever been in the MLS, and it has, sorts by status, actives at the top, was withdrawn with release, and it has expired way back in the day. So you can always still just even type an address there. All right, so we're in Matrix right now. I'm gonna pop back up to the top here. I'm gonna go back to my dashboard. Let's say you're on your smartphone and you log in. You get here, don't click the first box. See the second one? Matrix Mobile.
Ah, okay.
So that's what it looks like on your phone. Again, you know what? It's not going to feel good the first time you try it. It's going to be awkward, and maybe you don't know where to go. But if you look down at the bottom, you can always jump back to the full site, all right? But look what's at the top, speed bar. So I can type if I open it up and come to this site, this view, I can still type an address and I can click go. And here are the exact same 4 that were given to me. A for active, withdrawn, expired, expired. If I want to look at that, I click on it and there it is. So on your smartphone, I'm not swiping back and forth. I can scroll through the photos. I can come down, I can look through the listing. So I can see all that info. If I say, oh, this is great, I want to send this to my client. I've got email, I've got the option here. I can click, and here are my contacts. Again, it's just a different layout. It's all the same stuff.
Okay, stop
So
there.
I
Got a
can select
question.
them.
So
Pardon
right
me?
there, I'm sorry, can I interrupt you for 1 second?
Of course.
So what you just did, if you go back up and you've got your contacts in there, you still have, I mean, I have like 75 contacts in mine. So you still have to scroll through to find them. They are
Nope.
alphabetical.
You do not. I click on, so you're in there. It's gonna show you from the top, right? I click on one of them and then
Okay.
start typing. If I knew my guy was Leo, I
Yep.
just typed LEO on my keyboard, it jumps.
Okay.
So tap on one of them, start typing. Yep.
Okay.
All right. So we can find them here. Cancel out. So like I said, it might be a better option, and I can look through, right? I have 4 results. If I wanted to see all the times that address was ever in the MLS, I could. The other thing, I'm going to click here. That's just go back, and that is home. So you've got this option here. If I wanted to, I can do a search. I can say residential, single family, active, what we would call contingent or under contract allow showings. And I could type Strongsville, 300 to 500. Or I can type the search, or I can click here and I can go through some screens and make those selections. But that's why I think it's, if you can kind of just start to get an idea of how to use that speed bar. All right, I have 24 matches, Strongsville in that range. Here they all are. I can click on them and look through them. I can come down here, I can email all and send it to my client. So there's some, like I said, it's just kind of getting used to what that is and how to use it. But it is an option. Supra. Have you folks come up against any listings that have had a Supra iBox? So if a listing is using a Supra iBox, you need an app on your smartphone, and it has to be authorized by us at the MLS. So you can't just download the app. You do have to come here where it says Supra eKey. So I found that on my home screen. Look for that long external links panel and come down to Supra eKey. There's a screen, you'll just fill it out. And it sends information, it sends a request to us, sends a request to us at the MLS to send you an authorization code, which we will email to you. So that when you download the app, you'll have an authorization code to activate it. But if you do find a property that's using one, I'm going to go to help. And there is a nice quick video to show you how to use the app when you get there. So if you get stuck, or if you use it and you don't use it for 3 months and you're not sure what to do, you can always search Supra and watch that quick video. but you know, I'd want to have that on my phone and activated. If you don't have it, and here we're coming up on a long weekend, a long holiday, and somebody wants to visit a home on Saturday and you're not, you know, loaded up and ready, you may want to get that done. Anything else that's coming to mind? Listing input questions or? Don't know if you're using carts at all. Anybody have any questions on carts? I click recent searches. It remembers the last 30 I did. So if you did something early this morning and you're thinking, oh, for crying out loud, I looked up that listing and I don't remember what I set for my criteria. It will show you, you point to it. Okay, I looked at actives, single family in Strongsville, 3 to 450. I ran that at 113. I had 11 results. I can click here and it will rerun my search for me. So that's a handy tool. Or anybody interested in looking at comps, we can do that. I could search. If I wanted to see, maybe show my client what's currently active and under contract and what's sold in the last 6 months. The default is to go the last 180 days. You need to change that up. If you want to go back further, you can. So you can change that number. But that's the default. And if you wanted to see maybe single family properties near a certain address, I'm going to use that press view again. When I click it, the default is to look a quarter mile from that property, and I've got at the bottom telling me 4 results. I can change. I can click that arrow and choose a half mile, or I can click in the box and I can type. If I wanted to see where all these properties are on a map, I can click the map here or down at the bottom or up here at the right. And now it shows me that pin in the center, that is 600 Crestview, and the pins are representing my results. So I can zoom in and out. If I want to click and hold, I can drag the map around. So if I wanted to see those individual listings, oops, back this up a little bit. There we go. I can click results at the top right, and now it shows me those results. Well, if I have an interested party at 600 Crestview and they want to know, all right, so what's going on in my neighborhood? I can send them these listings. Well, think about it. If I click to send them all and I email, it's going to send them to one home. And we see what that looks like, right? It's got pins and parcels, and they'd have to look at all the information. And that's not what they want. What we really want to send them is a quick CMA. So that option for quick CMA is going to put all those, the listing data into a spreadsheet. So I get the address, I get data like bedrooms and bathrooms, square foot and acres. Don't forget, those are optional list, parts of a listing. Those fields aren't required, so they may not be populated. But we can see square footage and the calculated dollar per square foot, how long they were on the market, their original price, their last list price, and then their sold price. That's a great document to be able to send to your client. Like I said, that was very simple. I'm going to close it. Right, so for our criteria, we just drew on a map. We entered that address and drew on a map. If you wanted to email that directly to your client, so you're not going to choose email, believe it or not, you choose print. And I'm going to scroll all the way down. You'll see here, reports below print as PDF only. That is considered a one-line CMA, and I could email that PDF to my client. We like to use usually these two, either the one line or both, right? If I wanted to send both reports, I would hold Control and click on 3-up. If you're on a Mac, you would hold Command. I could choose both of those, and I'm going to choose Print to PDF instead so I can show you, but it would send our one-line CMA and then also a 3-up comparison. So it's going to put the first 3 on a page and then the next 3, and it gives a nice detailed report, many fields, in addition to what they would normally see on just that one-liner. So very simple to do that. Right, so you make your selection, grab those, and you can choose print and then that one-line CMA and email that directly to your client. Anything jumping out at you? Other topics that you can enter up in shorthand, which I think can be very, very helpful, are things like, okay, so I got a call, or I see information about about an agent. I want to be able to look them up. I'm going to be closing a listing, and I'm not sure what their license number is. I can point to search, and I can choose agent, and I can do all that typing, or I can type AG and a space, and then type some of their first name and some of their last name. AG space, and I can find them very quickly. So that's really helpful. So Sandy, if I wanted to send you an email, that's how I would look for you. I would find you like that. And then I've got your email address and I can pop that message over to you. So really handy. AG space. All right, and then that email that I did send before, there it is. If you're ever curious, you can always look back and you can see, I can click and it's going to pull up contact details for that client. I can see that I've got an auto email set up for them. When I look at it, it gives the title and it's got a blank circle. When I point to it, it says the client must click the first link to activate it. So it's not going to look for any more listings until they actually open up the email, click the link. And I can see the email sent to them. When I click back here to the auto email, if I wanted to see the results, I can click here and see. Here they are, those 7 results. I just clicked back to go, oh, and I apologize, I went back into auto emails. Let me go back. So I'm going to go back to contacts. Beg your pardon, I didn't go through contacts, sorry about that. We were looking at sent email. So that's how we got to them. If you click on auto email for your client and see this information, you do have an option to see open in one home. So you can see what it looks like for your client. You know, they get a link. You can see what they see by choosing that. So you can explain to them, okay, if you're opening this on a computer, your thumbnails are on the left, you have that map at the right. It's telling you you are in agent preview mode. You can't do anything here. You can't mark favorites. You can't do a new search. Only your client can do that. This is their portal. But you can at least tell them, hey, look in the upper left for that compare. And you know, you can select listings. You see that word. So it does help you. I'm going to click back up at the top here and go back into Matrix. But if you ever go to look at their auto emails, you do have that option to open in one home so that you can see exactly what your client sees. When you point to My Matrix, you know, you can go look at your clients and your saved searches. And I beg your pardon, my mouse is getting a little fidgety here. When I point to My Matrix, I have lots of options. So I can look just at my contacts or just my auto emails. That's a nice, quick way to see them. I don't have to go dig to find that one that I set up for Mr. Rabbit. I can go to just my auto emails and see them. I mentioned a little earlier that areas is going to be going away. If you have an auto email, like this one, it's set up using the Westlake area. I should change that, right? Well, how would I do it? Just like this. You click on the name, and then when you click, it opens up, it gives you a little snapshot here of the criteria that's used. I see that I've chosen area, so I need to go to the criteria screen. When I go to criteria, I see that I chose the city of Westlake. So if I control click, it will deselect it. I'll come here and I want to use the city of Westlake. I would then click save. It takes me to my auto email screen, lets me review it if I wanted to change something, you know, in the message itself or whatever. And then I would just click save again. So that's the kind of maintenance that you'll need to do if you've chosen to use areas in your auto emails. So you'll just cancel out of that. So you go to your auto email screen, click on your auto email, the name of it. So you click on, take a look. If you're using area, click criteria, make the change and save. Okay, well, that's primarily what I set out to cover today. I don't know if you had any other questions or applications. I can use you as a guinea pig if you needed to search anything or help you create something? All right, well, if that's all, I'll let you folks go. I appreciate you coming today. If, like I said, give us a call to help desk if you have any questions. You know, we can share screens with you. So if you're doing something on your computer, we can come down to quick support. It allows, you would click there, I'll click there too. I share a link with you. It lets me join sessions with you and watch what you're doing or maybe help you out. So we've got some good technology. So jump in and feel free to give us a call, ask some questions, but appreciate it. I'll hang out for just a couple minutes if you have any other questions. Otherwise,